Welcome back. There's been a hiatus, but something new begins now. This is perhaps one of my all-time favorite games. It's definitely on the top 5. And it's been there ever since the original existence of it way back on the SNES when it was called Final Fantasy II. This is a port to PC from a DS remake which made it onto the Android/iPhone platform somehow, and now we're looking at this result there. This was purchased on the Square Enix weekend on Steam. It is Final Fantasy IV, and it is a complete remake of a remake of a remake of the original. It's very epic game. This is where the storytelling in Final Fantasy really started to take off, at least in my experience, and I think that it's going to be real enjoyable for anybody watching this who enjoys this sort of thing and enjoys me talking for some reason. We'll see how it all goes. So, yeah, this is one of the great big cinematic additions that was made to the whole franchise there. We get to see all of our favorite characters drawn in a new light and given voices and all that, so it's really an excellent... Ooh, that was creepy. It's really an excellent way to experience just a timeless classic, an old tale that, I haven't really seen it done exactly in any other way. But these are very visually pleasing representations of all that. The game is a lot more cinematic than it used to be. There's cutscenes, all sorts of stuff, and none of it's the grandeur and spectacle and majesty of all the drawings that you see here in front of you, but it still is quite good. It still does hold up. Look at that son of a bitch in the background there, my god. Just take a moment to sit back and enjoy this. I would totally watch a full-length cinematic movie of this. I think it's a lot more epic and grand of a tale than some of the other Final Fantasy games, although I will readily admit Final Fantasy VI does have quite the edging out on the story. It's a lot more personally involved, but welcome to the majesty of Final Fantasy IV. I've been playing already for a while on this game as soon as I bought it on the Steam Square Enix weekend, and kind of gotten my dank down, if you will. I've gotten quite a few tips and quite a few tricks on how to maximize the benefit of this game. Some of it learned all too late towards the end, but that's what it's all about. You learn the game and then you learn to exploit the game. So let's begin. I will do normal difficulty.
Lord Captain, we're nearly to the Baron border.
So we are.
The trouble's him, too. Orders may be orders, but this...
Lord Captain of the Red Wings, Cecil Harvey. Here we see some nasty shit going down.
Lord Captain! We are the Red Wings, the pride of Baron. Must we now be thieves, sent to plunder from the weak?
Enough.
But Lord Captain, the Mysidians offered no resistance, and still we cut them down.
Listen to me. We did no more than what our kingdom's peace and prosperity required us to do. The Mysidians knew too much of the crystal and its secrets. His Majesty deemed it so. We are the Red Wings of Baron. It is not our place to question the orders of our king.
Lord Captain.
Lord Captain! Monsters at the fore!
So we see Cecil kind of keeping his crew in line. He's got doubts about what was going on too, but he's not going to air that to his crew. So this is a scripted battle, and it originally started that way in the first game, or first iteration of this game, that you would just basically watch as Cecil did his thing. And in original Final Fantasy II, there were none of the things that you see here. I'm going to go ahead and use the Red Fang, because why not? But it was an item that Cecil used to destroy these enemies in one go, and you never saw it again in the game, but it made a return on the Final Fantasy IV Advance. And as you can see, it's just a big old fireball that destroys everything on the screen, or at least hurts it.
Everyone all right?
And all these monsters as of late.
Disturbing, is it not? I wonder what it bodes. We've reached the castle, my lord.
Well then, prepare for landing, men.
I wonder what it bodes indeed. Look at that. The Red Wings, baby. The elite airship force of the entire world. Authored by the Kingdom of Baron. Gonna give everybody enough time to read the dialogue. I finish reading it, and then I wait a couple seconds. Bagan, he's clearly a shit-eater, as you could tell. One of them brown-nosing sorts, always up to no good. I figure enough to read 3 times is enough. Or 2. I mean, if you're not a speed reader, I don't know what you're gonna get out of this. So you can see Bagan sowing some bullshit. Cecil don't exactly feel this right now. I should say Cecil, that's how it's pronounced. I always said Cecil for my entire life. So I may slip up and say Cecil or Cecil. It doesn't fucking matter, it's the guy. He's your main character. I wound you? My liege. So yeah, some heavy-duty high-handedness going on from a king who Cecil has known all his life to be just and fair and wise and noble, and he's behaving very strangely. First light on the fucking morrow. But there's an interjection. Kane Highwind, look at this badass right here. His armor puts everybody to shame. Look at him. And he is Cecil's best bro from childhood. Long-time rival. Basically anything you could want from a brotherhood. From another motherhood, I guess. They both kind of grew up as knights of the Kingdom of Baron together. Your Majesty. Yeah, your mood is kind of well past fair. Carnelian Signet. My liege. WTF. And shit, people get drawn into shit. Before you know it, baby. Okay. Sleep is a good idea. Alright, so now I regain control of my character here. I'm going to take a quick jaunt into the menu. One thing they added for this game was when you go into your menu, you'll see a little bit of a thought blurb from whatever character you happen to have selected. And it serves to kind of, I don't know, set the pace for the story, and it can help guide you a lot wherever you're going. I'm going to stick with the music being high on this one here. I normally go with low, but, you know, this is for the benefit of everybody to hear and enjoy. I'm going to leave the battle mode on wait, because that's a bit easier, but I'm definitely turning it up to fast. Because we want to not have to wait that long in between rounds. So, yep, there's the quick save menu, and on the DS it was basically just your battery save that was volatile and would go away, but it very much served to let you quickly get back to something after you got your ass kicked in a nasty battle. You didn't have to walk through the whole shit. But the game kind of auto-quick saves every time you enter a room, basically. So anytime you enter a new room, you are quick saved, and so that really doesn't honestly go away. I mean, when you load the game, sure, when you start a new game or when you save on another, but the quick save's always got your back here, so that's nice to know. This is something I discovered on my first attempt to do a recording. I didn't do a very good recording the first time, but I discovered this little nugget of joy, which is just, it's one thing that they did in this game, which I will say, right or wrong, they did it, and I leave everybody else to be the judge, but they added some backstory here. So you go talk with Cain. And this is the first time I've ever seen actual Dragoons other than Cain in this game. It's pretty neat. Trained because His Majesty asked it of me. That's a loyal subject. I envy you. What's to envy? Now, I'm not sure where all these options are, these opportunities to get a cutscene like this in the game. I'll try to discover them as I go, and I'll be looking it up because I really want to get the most experience out of this. I want to really convey the wonderment of this entire game as I play it on to you, the viewer. Have no fear of that shit. This is an ambitious man. Their rivalry, it's a friendly one, but it's still a rivalry, and it cuts pretty deep, too. Ellipsis. That's good-natured ribbing right there. Of course not. Leave on the morrow, best to get some sleep. You are right about that. So yeah, look at these Dragoons. That is some pretty cool armor. Shrouded in a fog that never lifts. Talk to this guy. You're darn straight that it's the enemies of Baron who need to fear. Damn right. And we know that there's a door back here that the airship designer is hiding something. But we're not going to spend too much time getting into it. We're just going to jump in. You're given free reign of the castle, and you get to kind of visit the mage laboratories here, and you can see this is a white mage lab. What's she got to say? That's very odd. Different, you say. So those are white mages, all girls. And it's actually the same character sprite as the dancers, they just put a robe on them. But you can go and find the dancers, and they're all half-nakedness, and watch them do a dance for you. What do you got to say, Black Mage? That's true. Yeah, there's lots of powerful magic in this game. A lot of it non-elemental. A lot of it status affecting, which, you know, didn't used to play that big of a role, but it will in this game. So here you get to open up a switch on the wall and get a few minor treasures. Some gil, an ether, and a tent. Those are all very useful things. Ether is kind of rare to find in this game. It's always at a premium, and so it's always a battle to try and keep your mages and your, you know, whatnots filled up with the stuff, with mana. And ether's one way to do it, though there are others. Cecil! God, look at you, Rosa. I forgot her last name, but my god. I always pronounced it Rosa, but apparently it's Rosa in this game. They gotta go for the alternate spelling, or the alternate pronunciation. And god, look at what she's wearing. Does that seem very white magey to you? I mean, I know it's a bodysuit, all except for the cleavage there, but my god, that is flesh toned. She's just letting it all hang out there with the tiara, and the only thing that she really has to cover her half-naked self is a cloak. And of course she's your love interest in the game. Cecil's your man throughout the whole game. He's the only one who never leaves your party, ever. Everybody is at least in it once and then goes along their merry way, but he is your man from beginning to end of the game. And yeah, they have a pretty close relationship, these two. Of course, it's pretty obvious that Cain has the hots for Rosa too, and so that's kind of a point of contention, really. That cloak is pretty damn opaque. Have you changed your thoughts? Nope. So, order of business number 1. Go get some fucking sleep. And here we see the obligatory Cid. Yes, he does get to join your party. And actually, he's not that bad. He's a pretty decent character to have along in his own right. He does decent enough damage. His special skills I don't care all that much about, but they are, he is a good guy to have along in a pinch. Gives you a little bit of extra hit power there. And of course he loves his airships. And this gets me. Hey, why the long face something the matter, and you expect he's gonna get something? And Cecil's all like, and then psychic powers. He knows it all, and he didn't say shit to him. That's something that they glossed over in the original iteration of it too, but we're meant to believe that Cecil told him and just spared us the details. Cecil, the captain of the Red Wings, he kind of held that shit together, and now he's dismissed, so that's a big shock to everyone in the palace. Why would Cecil, his honorable Cecilness, get disbanded from being the captain of the Red Wings? It will all become clear. What are you building them for, Cid? The Kingdom at Unrest. And this is pretty much the standard Final Fantasy fodder. It's an evil empire that's expanding its influence, and one man, or your hero generally from within the empire, sees through the evil and goes to fight for the freedom of the world. And it's very I don't know, it's a very right-wing conservative view, I think, but at the same time, it's always shown to be just some asshole pulling the strings at the back who's only out for his own interests and is manipulating the people. And it's always somebody who nobody knows about, and he was there the whole time, you know, manipulating it. So that swerves a little bit further left, because capitalism in and of itself doesn't always necessarily turn this way. But that's political, and I'm not going to get into it. You still thinking something? Yeah, you still thinking about his liege. And here we see this little guy. This is Naming Way. He played the role in the original game of renaming your characters. You know, think, well, what's he doing along here? You can just rename your characters, I guess. Yep, that's what he says. And his is a very obsolete sort of service, it would seem. Try on a new name? Sure, why not? Let me go ahead and change my name. I'm gonna change that name and... oh. I can't. Well, shit. You can't change your... See, they made a meal of this particular programming choice here. Obviously, with voice acting, you can't change the names. It's all been recorded. So, yeah, they take away his capability to do that, but he does play a sort of a side role in this game, and I might go ahead and follow his quest line if it becomes interesting to me. My existence serves no purpose. That they're making a meal of the meta is what they're doing. Well, until we meet again. Alright, bro. Still no change of thoughts. Okay, fair enough. Gotta get to bed anyhow. What's up, lady in waiting? Not even a word to her? That's cold, man. That's cold privilege shit. But, you know, he's got a lot on his mind. Yes. You'll notice that every time you get near something you can interact with, such as a person or a treasure chest or what have you, that little exclamation point pops up. Pay attention to that. Notice there's 2 moons. What's up with that?
Your Majesty, what's become of you? Where is the noble knight, the man who took me in as an orphan and raised me as his own? The strong, just king I once knew. Is a crystal worth all this? Robbing a peaceful people of what's theirs by right. What need could be so great? King's orders or no, there's no forgiving what we've done.
Cecil?
Hey, baby.
Won't you tell me what happened? First you're sent off to Mysidia, and now to hunt some beast again so soon? Did something happen in Mysidia?
No, it's nothing.
Then why won't you look at me?
In Mysidia, we stole a crystal from people who had done no wrong. I've worn this darkened armor for so long now. There's no mote of light left in me.
I'd argue
Not
that.
even in my heart.
You're a good man, Cecil.
I'm a coward. A coward who cannot even defy orders he knows he ought not follow.
Cecil of the Red Wings is many things, but he is no coward. Not
That's
the
all you
Cecil
need.
who I love. The king is sending you to Mist to slay the Eidolon, isn't he? If anything were to happen to you, I couldn't...
It's a bodysuit.
Pain will be
She's
with
not
me.
naked.
I'll be fine. It's late. You should get some rest.
Be careful.
Thank you, Rosa. But I know what I've become.
Now see, the dialogue changed just a little bit here, from even Final Fantasy IV Advance, which was apparently just a port of the WonderSwan version. In my opinion, it kind of looked like crap in comparison to the original SNES version. It's one of the reasons I chose this.
Shall we then, Cecil?
I'll be counting on you, my friend.
Then you've nothing to fear.
That's a friendship right there. And that's pretty badass, that helmet. So yeah, I made the choice to go with Final Fantasy IV DS rather than Final Fantasy IV Advance. There have been complaints about frame rate issues during battles in this game, which I'm pretty sure they patched out. It seems that I don't have any frame rate issues. Honestly, there's only two complaints that I could levy against this version of the game. Number one is that they didn't take really any effort to localize it to PC, so to speak. I mean, the keyboard controls are actually very good. They work very well. I could play this game quite easily without the controller. Speaking of which, I've got an Xbox One controller. It's nice, I like. And yeah, I'm going to take the time to talk over this obligatory opening intro scene that just takes forever and says very little about what's going actually on in the game. Yeah, the big old menus are designed for the smaller touch screens like phones and on the Nintendo DS, and they really don't translate over well to PC. I could have honestly done with a much smaller menu interface than the big old blocky buttons that are meant for touch screens. Another thing that they kind of screwed up, and I think this was even present on the DS version, is that during some of the voiceover cutscenes, they didn't really time the starting of some of the lines well. You do have quite a few instances of where a sentence begins before another one has ended, and sometimes they just play concurrently to each other, completely interrupting everything. So, you know, that's something that they pretty much just straight ported it onto the PC, and so not a lot was done to make it extremely PC friendly. So those are my two complaints: the big old blocky menu buttons and the just, you know, poorly done voice tracks as far as how they're laid out. Can't complain about the acting in this game, really. But in any case, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this episode. I do thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll be able to get a lot of this series done, and I expect this to go on for quite a few episodes. This can give you like 30 to 40 hours of gameplay easy. Thanks for watching. This is Solinist Raccoon, and this has been Final Dankasy.